I was getting ready to leave for a crazy party at my friend's house when Mom barged into my room and declared, "Mia, we're moving tomorrow." I was devastated. Because of her job as a supermodel, we moved and traveled a lot. But she'd promised we'd stay here till I finished high school. I tried to argue, but she had an even bigger bomb ready. "Say your goodbyes to everyone tonight. We're heading for my hometown tomorrow morning." When I heard that, I nearly passed out. Her dull, boring hometown? It was one thing to travel from New York to Paris or Switzerland, like we had in the last 15 years, but her hometown? That was taking things too far. Hi, I'm Mia, and I have the perfect life. A famous supermodel mom, endless traveling, crazy shopping sprees, and 400 pairs of shoes. But then one day, my mom decided to move back to her hometown. The day we moved back, it was as if the entire town had come to see my mom. Not that 100 people is a big crowd, but boy, was it awkward. Everybody was awestruck at seeing Mom. And me too, because apparently no one knew Mom had a kid. A few hours later, as I was checking out the town, I heard someone talking about Mom. One of the women talking said that Mom had left 15 years ago. The woman said, "I hear her girl is 15 too. You know what that means? Her father must be from here." I was shocked. Mom had never told me about my dad and has always said she was both my parents. I had to ask her. At home, Mom was unpacking boxes in the lounge. "Is that why we're here? To find my dad? Is he here? Have you seen him? Does he know I'm here?" But what my mom said left me horrified. "You will not be meeting him. I'll make sure of that." I tried to ask her why, but she just said that she was my dad. She said she'd raised me alone and we didn't need anyone else now. I begged to differ. I needed a dad. My dad. Just get ready for school tomorrow. Like hell I would. I was on a mission to find my dad. I couldn't stop wondering who he was and if he missed me. As I sat in my first class the next day, everyone was staring at me. The girls kept giving me jealous looks, and 3 guys had already asked me out. Small towns were so boring. I was like a shiny new toy. But I was soon to be very not bored. You see, as soon as my teacher, Mr. Jason, came into the room, he took one look at me and screamed, "Joanne?" Joanne was my mom's name. I told him that we had moved back yesterday. His eyes widened. "Joanne is back? And she has a 15-year-old daughter?" "That's what I just said." Immediately, he turned around and left the room. That was so weird. A girl behind me laughed and said, "Awkward. No one really likes you or your mom around here." I was furious. I didn't even know this girl. But before I could reply, someone else cut in. "Cut it out. You're just jealous because she and her mom are so pretty." I blushed and looked at the boy who said that. He was a cute, brown-haired boy. The way he looked at me gave me butterflies. After school, I was about to leave when Mr. Jason ran up to me. He pushed a huge teddy bear and a packet of candy into my arms and said, "Take these! Did your mom tell you I'm your dad? Is that why you're in my class? How could she hide you from me?" As he left, sniffling, I stared after him in shock. What was he talking about? Just then, a guy ran up to me and said, "Hey, sweetie, want to go on a date with me? You're the prettiest girl in this school, ever." Another shoved him aside and said, "Dream on, loser. She's going on a date with me first." Suddenly, the boy from class came over to me and said, "Stop it, guys. Can't you see you're making her uncomfortable?" And he sent them away. I thanked him, and he introduced himself as Aaron. "Do you maybe want to hang out with me? We can watch a movie?" My heart fluttered. Sure. We had just walked up to his door when his next-door neighbor, who was mowing the lawn, screamed. He was staring at me and looked like he'd seen a ghost. "Joanne?" Okay, this was so annoying. Did I look old enough to be in my 30s? Aaron told this guy, Tom, that I was Joanne's daughter. To my shock, he ran over to hug me. I felt so embarrassed when he looked at me with tears in his eyes and said, "I never knew. How could she hide this from me? It's so cruel." I gasped. What was he trying to say? Were you Mom's best friend? Could you help me find my dad? Your dad? If you're 15, I'm sure I'm your dad. She didn't even tell you? I want to talk to her. Where is she? Before I could say anything though, Tom ran back to his house, leaving the 2 of us alone. Then Aaron said, "Wow, that was weird. They must have been real good friends." Yeah, looks like it. Yeah. Do you maybe want to get some ice cream now? I was barely listening. Both Mr. Jason and Tom had acted so weird and emotional seeing me. They both thought I was their daughter. At home, I wasn't surprised to see Mom had visitors. I could hear yelling and ran inside to see Tom and Mr. Jason fighting. My mom was trying to break them apart, but they weren't listening to her. I grabbed a plate and smashed it. The sound made them all freeze. What in the world is going on? Immediately, both the men dashed towards me. And, I kid you not, both were crying. Tom yelled, "My daughter!" Mr. Jason jumped in. "What do you mean your daughter? She's my daughter!" I looked in shock at both the men and then at Mom. "You want to tell me what's going on, Mom?" Before Mom could say anything, Mr. Jason said, "Before your mom left town, we were dating, so clearly you're my daughter." But then Tom cut in. After this moron cheated on her and broke her heart, she dated me in secret for a month. We were best friends, and then she got scared and ran away, I think. I was taken aback while Mom lazily yawned and said even Tom had cheated on her. So since both the men had broken her heart, she would never tell them whose daughter I was. Tom looked hurt and immediately began to grovel for forgiveness. He said Mom was his only true love. He said he never dated anyone after her. This was so weird. Mom, I need to know who my dad is. I'm the only father you've ever had, Mia. Just accept it. I came here to show both these losers I didn't need anyone to make it big and raise my little girl. Oh yeah? So what about me, huh? I need to know. For a minute, she looked upset, like she never thought I would want to know. Then she smiled and said, just pick one. Whoever you want as your dad. Pick him. All three of us looked shocked. But Mom clearly considered the conversation over and left the room. Both men turned to me. The way they looked at me made me panic. Uh-oh. I turned and ran out. I didn't want to be dealing with this right now. Unexpectedly, having two dads wasn't all that bad at first. Both of them were clearly still in love with Mom and were desperate to win me over. So the next few weeks were amazing. Mr. Jason treated me like I owned the school. He was passing me in every class, and none of the rules applied to me. Everyone was so jealous. I was showered with the strangest gifts. Mr. Jason would get me candy and dolls like I was a kid, while Tom got me all of Mom's favorite music and movies. I wasn't complaining though. I did enjoy the attention and gifts and money. Oh boy, there was a lot of money. But sometimes I didn't feel so sure. It seemed like both these guys were just really in love with Mom and wouldn't stop asking me to praise them in front of her. The worst part was when every day Mr. Jason and Tom showed up at our house wanting to walk me to school. I kept telling them that I wouldn't let either of them walk me. There was no way on earth I could show up to school with my teacher and my crush's neighbor. The girls would give me hell. One day, Mr. Jason showed up with a huge doll and more candy. Tell your mom I gave these to you, okay, kiddo? Ugh. I pushed it back into his hands. I'm 15, not 5. Tom pushed $50 into my hand. Yes, take this instead. Youngsters need money. They don't play with dolls. Gee, thanks. Would you tell Mom if I skip school today? No. I mean, I can be the fun parent. I grinned at him, and he looked like he'd won the lottery. Uh-oh. I didn't want him to think I'd chosen him. Not so soon, anyway. Thanks, bye! I turned and ran. Thankfully, I could outrun them both, and I knew exactly where to go. Just outside the arcade, though, I ran headfirst into someone. Ow! The man saw the money in my hand and looked at me suspiciously. Who are you running from, kid? Did you steal that? Excuse me? What did he think I was, a beggar? I told him to butt out of my business and tried to walk past him. But then I felt a hard tug on my back. He was holding me back. Shouldn't you be in school? What are you, my dad? He said this part of town was dangerous and I shouldn't be here alone. Listen, mister, I'm not here to commit a crime. I'm just going to play some arcade games, so excuse me. He looked around and then sighed. Fine. I'll come and watch over you. I was stunned. Was he some kind of creepy pervert? He seemed normal enough, but why did he seem so concerned? It made me feel weird. Are you like Father Teresa of this neighborhood or something? No, kiddo. You remind me of someone. The next few hours were great. The guy, Steve, played games with me and even got me ice cream. Best of all, he said he paid for it all. I had a great time and got $50. Then he said he'd walk me home. That made me panic. There's no way. If Mom saw me skipping school with a stranger, she'd flip. He looked at me thoughtfully and said he wouldn't tell her if I promised never to skip again. Okay, I won't tell your mom if you can solve this riddle. How can you make the number 1 disappear? Ha! I knew this one. Add the letter G and it's gone. That was quick. You're a smart one, aren't you? Yeah. Mom was always making me guess stupid riddles. Now, goodbye, Dad. When I got home, Mom came running and yelled, Just where were you, young lady? She and Mr. Jason were on the stairs. Jason had snitched. I was dead meat. Do you know how worried I was? I had to tell your mom you skipped the whole day of school. Somehow when he said that, I got really angry. I knew he was really just trying to get close to Mom. Listen, you're not my dad, okay? You're just trying to score points with her by ratting me out. Oh no, my child, that's not. But I wasn't going to listen. I went to my room and slammed the door while Mom yelled, You're grounded forever, Missy! So annoying. Just then, there was a knock on the window. I gasped. This was the 2nd floor. I went to check and found Aaron downstairs. He was jumping up and down as he said, There's a party tonight. Tom said you might be grounded, so I should ask you like this. I was psyched. Tom was the chillest. I climbed down from the window using the tree right next to it. Wow, you look amazing. I couldn't help but laugh. But then I found myself telling Aaron the thought that had been in my mind all these weeks. Tom is great, And Mr. Jason is really in love with Mom, but I don't think I want either of them to be my dad. I don't feel it. Suddenly, Aaron pulled me in for a hug and kissed me. Don't let anyone manipulate you. You'll know if it's your dad. You'll always know. My heart melted. Aaron really was the sweetest. I was glad he asked me to the party. Aaron and I had a great time. The girl from the first day looked like she was going to cry an ocean when she saw me walk in with Aaron. I grinned at her. Aaron hadn't even noticed her. We hadn't been dancing for long when the door flew open and Mom barged in. Oh no. Mia? Where are you, Mia? I tried to duck under the table, but Tom spotted me and ruined everything. She's there. I see her, darling. He really did me dirty. As Mom dragged me out of the room, I saw the girls laughing at me. Outside, I pulled away from Mom. Stop it, Mom! She yelled at me, right on the road. No, you cut it out. I've never seen a more troublesome, annoying girl. Before I could reply, someone cut in and said, Really? Because I might have, Joanne. It was Steve. But when Mom turned to look at him, it was like she'd seen a ghost. The color drained from her face. Steve? The one and only. I knew that kid was familiar. Fancy her being yours. I was thrilled to see him and ran up to him. I said, You know my mom? He seemed so happy to see her. But Mom's reaction seemed odd. She grabbed my arm and pulled me away, saying, Enough. Let's go home. Both Steve and I were shocked. He tried to talk to her, but all she said was, Stay away from me, Steve. And stay away from my daughter. Not until you tell me why you did it. Why did you just run away? And why are you back now, huh? She yelled back that there was nothing between them. Then Steve said, Nothing? That's a lie and you know it. You didn't even come to meet me. Come on, Mia. We're leaving for Paris tomorrow. I yelled, What? No, I'm not going anywhere. Steve jumped in front of Mom and said, You're not going anywhere till you tell me why you just disappeared. I was in a terrible accident and was unconscious for 2 days. And when I woke up, I couldn't find you anywhere. You'd even changed your number. Mom shouted back, Don't lie. You stood me up, just like the other two. I was going to propose that night. Mom started shaking, and that's when Steve took out a chain he was wearing. On it was a ring. You... what? Of course. We were in love, and you said you had some great news for me. What was it? Mom could barely speak. The news, it was... She looked at me, and then at him, and for a moment, I thought she was joking. Steve was my dad! Mom said, I didn't know you'd still be here. I thought I hated you, but I still wanted Mia to see her father's town before I took her to Paris forever. To think I would have just left without ever knowing the truth. Steve hugged Mom and wiped away her tears. Then he turned to me. Come here, kiddo. Give your old man a hug. It's long overdue. As I ran to hug him, I realized in my heart I'd always known it was him from the first time I'd met him. Like Aaron had said, I'd just known. Suddenly, Tom joined our hug saying, I'm still your best friend. Hug me too, guys.